Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and something that seems to come up a lot in the fitness community and the training world, and something I get asked about a lot, is what is the most important factor from your training in terms of stimulating growth? And I'm not going to get into recovery or nutrition or any of that because none of that has to do with the stimulation of new muscle growth. Those are things that matter after the fact. So people are asking things like, is it important to train to failure? Is it important to get a pump? And no, these factors are not that critical. Now, the pump itself can be indicative of metabolic fatigue, but it's not really the best judge of if you're stimulating new muscle growth. The number one key is progressive overload, which means you are subjecting the muscles that you want to grow, or all the muscles in your body preferably, to additional workload, additional overload in the form of either additional mechanical tension, which means more weight, or moving the same weight faster because that recruits more motor units, or through metabolic fatigue, which is accomplished through increasing the workload. And yes, I understand that that's an oversimplification here. But the truth is, you have to either be increasing the amount of weight on the bar while maintaining the same technique, form, and range of motion, or you have to be increasing the number of reps that you can do with the same weight, with again, the same range of motion, same form, or just increasing the overall volume. Now, the thing is, the latter is going to produce the least results. By adding 5 more sets of squats or bench press to a session, you're not going to stimulate large amounts of new muscle growth over what you got with a smaller workload. But it is a good way to break a plateau, perhaps. Because at the end of the day, if you are not getting stronger, you are not stimulating new muscle growth. You will for just a short period of time, but it's going to be short-lived. And so when people say things like, I'm not training to get stronger, I'm training to get bigger, it's really kind of a silly statement because the two go hand in hand. And I don't mean your 1 rep max, because even powerlifters, most powerlifters don't do 1 rep maxes outside of competitions. Depends on their training style, but many successful champions don't even do their 1 rep maxes other than when they're at competition, and a lot of powerlifters don't even go under 3 reps. So that's not what we're talking about, but the truth is, even if you're doing 10 rep sets, you're going to have to add weight to the bar to grow. You're not going to build a massive chest doing 95 pounds on the bench press for 10 reps for the next 10 years. You're probably going to have to eventually get 200 pounds on the bar, 300 pounds on the bar if you want to get really big doing 10 rep sets. And here's the way to look at that. At one time when you were training, your max bench was probably 135. Even though you're not training for a max, at some point you're probably going to be benching 225 for 10 reps. So at that point, it's fair to say that your 1 rep max has gone up substantially because, again, you need progressive overload to create new training stimulus in order to stimulate the muscle to grow. This is really more important than things like shocking the muscle or doing a lot of these techniques that people talk about that are supposedly going to shock a muscle into new growth. All you actually need to stimulate new growth is to increase the workload. If you can do a certain weight for 6 reps and you go to 7 or 8 reps, you've increased workload. If you can add 5 or 10 pounds to the bar, you've increased workload. You're stimulating new growth. You don't have to change exercises. You don't have to do special methods like drop sets or force negatives. You simply have to use a system that allows you to continually progress. And it doesn't mean every single session, but as long as your general trend is upward, then they're going to be receiving new growth stimulation. And that's really the most important factor here. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.